Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to the show, everybody! So glad you could make it. Let me ask you something. This morning, when your alarm went off, did you hit the snooze button? I did. Twice. Don't tell my producers. Then, did you stand in front of your closet and think, what am I going to wear today? Or maybe you were in the kitchen staring at your coffee and had a deep, philosophical debate with yourself, sugar or no sugar. These are the moments, right? The little crossroads of our day. You might not even think about them, but you've already made dozens of decisions before you've even properly started your day. It's wild. And get this, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're not talking dozens, we're not even talking hundreds. Some researchers say the number of decisions we make every single day can climb into the thousands. Yeah, you heard me, thousands. It's like our brain is running a marathon before we've even had our breakfast, so what do you say? Let's take a little trip together. Let's spin the wheel of the mind and take a peek behind the curtain to see how it all works. We're going to explore how we make choices, from the tiny to the life-changing. It's going to be fun, it's going to be fascinating, and it might just change the way you think about, well, thinking. Stick around. This journey into our own minds is something else. It's like having a backstage pass to the greatest show on earth, happening right between your ears. We're going to break down the science, the psychology, and some of the truly bizarre facts about our daily decision-making process. From the simple choice of which sock to put on first, admit it, you have a preference, to those huge, monumental decisions that define our lives. We'll look at why you sometimes feel so drained by the end of the day and how marketers are playing four-dimensional chess with your shopping cart. So grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's dive deep into the incredible, overwhelming, and mind-blowing world of your 35,000 daily decisions. So, first things first, what even a decision? It sounds simple, right? But it's a little more complicated than you might think. Is it the thought, or is it the action that follows? A decision is basically the process of selecting a course of action from among several alternatives. It's a mental event. Think of it like a fork in the road inside your head. You see two paths, and your brain has to pick one. Some of these are huge, conscious choices that we agonize over. You know the ones. Should I quit my job and follow my dream of becoming a professional mime? Or should I finally ask them out? Those are the decisions that feel heavy, the ones we write pros and cons lists for. But then, there are the countless others that happen in a split second, almost without us noticing. These are the unconscious choices. When you're driving, and you instinctively turn left at a familiar intersection, that's a decision. Your brain did the work without bothering to loop you in on the meeting. Or when you're reading an article, your eyes are constantly deciding which word to focus on next. It's an endless stream of micro-choices. So, a decision isn't just about the big, life-altering moments. It's the entire fabric of our moment-to-moment existence, the silent engine that moves us through the world, one tiny mental step at a time. It's the yes or no, the this or that happens thousands of times a day. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this magical 3-pound universe in our heads actually make a choice? It's like a little company in there with different departments doing different jobs. The CEO of this operation is a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. It's right behind your forehead. This is the part that handles the tough stuff, logical reasoning, weighing future consequences, and overriding our impulsive urges. When you're thinking, if I eat this entire cake, I'll probably regret it tomorrow, that's your prefrontal cortex doing its job. It's the responsible adult in the room, trying to keep everything on track. It's your brain's Jiminy Cricket, basically, but it doesn't work alone. There's another key player, the basal ganglia. Think of this as the department of habits and routines. It's deep inside the brain, and it's all about efficiency. The basal ganglia learns from your past experiences and automates common behaviors so your prefrontal cortex doesn't have to sweat the small stuff. When you instinctively reach over and turn off your alarm clock in the morning without even opening your eyes, that's your basal ganglia in action. It's a beautiful partnership, really. The basal ganglia handles the routine, freeing up the prefrontal cortex to focus on the new, complex problems. It's a system designed to make life easier, one automatic, thoughtless decision at a time. So, we've talked about big decisions and small ones. But just how many are we talking about? This is where it gets absolutely wild. Researchers at Harvard and other top universities have looked into this, and the number they came up with is staggering. Get ready for it. The average adult makes around 35,000 remotely conscious decisions every single day. 30, 35,000. I mean, that's more decisions than I have dance moves, and I have a lot of dance moves. When I first heard that, I thought, no way, that can't be right. I don't remember making 35,000 choices yesterday. I barely remember what I had for lunch. But here's the thing. The vast majority of these are tiny, automatic, and completely unconscious. They are the bedrock of our day, the kingdom of routine. We're not talking about should I buy a house? We're talking about things like deciding which foot to put your weight on when you stand up, or choosing which words to focus on as you're reading this very sentence. Your brain is constantly making micro adjustments and selections. Even a simple conversation involves hundreds of decisions. What word to say next, what tone to use, when to nod, when to listen. It's an invisible, non-stop torrent of choices that our brain handles so seamlessly that we don't even notice it's happening. Let's just zoom in on the first 10 minutes of your day. It's a perfect example of this decision avalanche. The alarm goes off. Decision number 1, snooze or get up. Let's say you hit snooze. 9 minutes later, it goes off again. Decision number 2, snooze again or face the day. You finally drag yourself out of bed. Decision number 3, which side of the bed to get out of. You stumble to the closet. Decision number 4, what to wear. This isn't just one decision, it's a cascade. Pants or shorts, this shirt or that one. Do these socks match? That's like another 5, 10, maybe 20 decisions right there. You make it to the bathroom. Decision number 25, brush teeth now or after coffee. You get to the kitchen. The real fun begins. Coffee or tea? That's decision number 26. If coffee, what kind of beans? That's decision number 27. How to brew it? Decision number 28. Cream? Decision number 29. Sugar? Decision number 30. How many sugars? Decision number 31. Then breakfast. Cereal, eggs, toast, yogurt, nothing? Decisions number 32 through 36. If cereal, which one of the 5 boxes in your pantry? Decision number 37. Milk, which kind? Decision number 38. See what I mean? We're not even 10 minutes in, and we're already approaching 50 decisions. It's a relentless, non-stop waterfall of choices, and the day has barely even begun. It's exhausting just thinking about it. Have you ever had one of those days where by 3 p.m. you just can't make another choice? Someone asks you, "What do you want for dinner?" and your brain just goes blank. You just say, "I don't care, you pick." That feeling, my friends, has a name: decision fatigue. It's a real psychological phenomenon. Think of your decision-making ability like a muscle. Every time you use it, it gets a little more tired. The more choices you make throughout the day, the more that mental muscle gets depleted. And when it's tired, its performance drops. Your ability to make good, rational, well-thought-out choices goes right out the window. This is why, after a long day of work, you're more likely to make impulsive choices like ordering a greasy pizza instead of making a healthy salad. Your brain is just too tired for the good decision. And this is also why you see some of the most successful people in the world, like Mark Zuckerberg or the late Steve Jobs, wearing the same outfit every single day. It's not a fashion statement, it's a strategy. They're eliminating a trivial decision, what to wear, to conserve their mental energy for the big, important decisions that actually matter for their companies. They're actively fighting decision fatigue before the day even starts. It's a simple life hack, but it's honestly kind of brilliant. So we've established that most of our 35,000 daily decisions are not the big, dramatic kind. The vast majority are made unconsciously. Our brain is an expert at outsourcing. It's like it has a massive team of interns running around handling all the small stuff so the CEO, our conscious mind, can focus on the big picture. This happens in what scientists call the brain's default mode network. It's the system that's active when you're daydreaming or driving a familiar route or doing any task that's become second nature. It's your brain on autopilot, making thousands of micro decisions based on established patterns and habits without you even being aware of it. But this is where it gets tricky. Because this unconscious system is running the show most of the time, it's heavily influenced by things we're not aware of. Our biases, our past experiences, our hidden assumptions, they all feed into this automatic process. If you've always taken the same route to work, your brain will choose that path by default, even if there's a new, faster route available. It sticks to what it knows. Our habits become the rails on which our unconscious mind runs. This is why breaking a bad habit is so hard. You're not just fighting a conscious desire. You're fighting a deeply ingrained, automated decision-making process that has been running on repeat for years. Now, if our brains are running on autopilot most of the time, you can bet that someone has figured out how to take the wheel. And they have. Welcome to the world of marketing. Advertisers and brands are masters at influencing our unconscious decision-making. They know you're not making a purely rational choice when you're in the grocery store. They know you're running on habit and instinct. So they design everything to hack that system. The bright, colorful packaging isn't just to look pretty. It's designed to grab your attention and trigger positive emotional associations your brain has learned over time. It's a shortcut to your yes button, and it goes way deeper than that. Think about product placement in a supermarket. It's a science. The most expensive brands are usually placed at eye level. Why? Because that's where you're most likely to look. Research shows that products at eye level can sell up to 70% more than those on the bottom shelf. They're making the decision easier for your tired brain. The free samples, the limited time only offers, the music playing in the store, it's all designed to nudge your unconscious mind in a specific direction. They're not forcing you to buy anything, but they are making it incredibly easy and appealing for your brain to say, yeah, let's grab that one. So, with all these thousands of decisions flying around, how fast is our brain actually making them? The answer is, it depends. For the vast majority of those small everyday choices, your brain is incredibly fast. Neuroscientists have done studies where they can see a decision forming in the brain's activity a full 7 to 10 seconds. The person is consciously aware of having made it. Let that sink in. Your brain has already decided to pick up the cup of coffee before you have even thought, I think I'll pick up that coffee. It's like your brain sends you an email notification about a decision it already made on your behalf. Of course, the big, important decisions take much longer. Choosing a college, deciding to get married, buying a house, these can take weeks, months, or even years of conscious deliberation. But what about those gut feelings? Those moments where you just what to do instantly? That's not magic, it's your brain's incredible processing power at work. A gut feeling is essentially a rapid-fire judgment based on a massive database of your past experiences, patterns, and emotions, all processed by your unconscious mind in a split second. It's your brain's way of saying, I've seen a situation like this before, and here's the best move. It's a fast choice, but it's packed with data. We don't just make decisions on our own. We make them in groups all the time. At work, with our families, with our friends. Where should we go for dinner? Is a classic group decision battleground. The hope is that with more brains on the problem, we'll make a better, more well-rounded choice. More perspectives should lead to a smarter outcome, right? And sometimes it does. A good team can spot risks that an individual might miss and come up with more creative solutions. But there's a dark side to group decision-making. It's a trap called groupthink. Groupthink is what happens when the desire for harmony or conformity in a group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. People stop voicing their own opinions to avoid conflict, and they start going along with the perceived consensus. There was a famous experiment by psychologist Solomon Asch. He'd put one real participant in a room with a bunch of actors. They'd be shown a line and then asked to pick the matching line from a set of 3. The actors would all confidently pick the wrong line. And what happened? A shocking 70% of the real participants followed the majority and gave the obviously wrong answer at least once, just to fit in. It shows how powerful the pressure to conform is, and how it can lead a whole group to make a terrible decision. Our decisions aren't made in a vacuum. They aren't purely logical calculations. They're, drenched in emotion. 2 of the most powerful drivers behind our choices are fear and motivation, or more simply, pain and pleasure. Our brains are fundamentally wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. It's just a basic survival instinct. Fear, especially the fear of loss, is an incredibly powerful motivator. The idea of losing something we already have is often more painful than the pleasure of gaining something new. That's why you might stay in a job you don't love. The fear of the unknown and the loss of a steady paycheck can be more powerful than the hope of finding a better job. On the flip side, hope and desire push us forward. The motivation to achieve a goal, to gain love, or to find happiness can make us take huge risks. This is where you see a massive difference between people. Some are risk-averse. Their decisions are primarily guided by a desire for safety and security. They're playing not to lose. Others are risk seekers. They're motivated by the potential for a big payoff, and they're willing to gamble. They're playing to win. Your personal history, your past successes and failures all shape this internal balance. Every choice you make is a reflection of this deep, psychological tug-of-war between what you're afraid of and what you're hoping for. You'd think that more options would make us happier, right? More freedom, more control. Want to watch a movie? You have like thousands of choices on streaming platforms. Want to buy jam? The supermarket has 50 different kinds. But psychologists have discovered something fascinating and honestly pretty counterintuitive called the paradox of choice. It turns out that having too many options doesn't make us happier. It actually makes decisions harder, more stressful, and can lead to us being less satisfied with the choice we finally make. It's paralyzing. When you're faced with 50 kinds of jam, you start to worry. What if I pick the wrong one? What if that other one is better? This overload leads to a few things. First, decision paralysis. You get so overwhelmed that you just give up and choose nothing. You scroll through Netflix for 30 minutes and then just turn it off. Second, even if you do make a choice, you're more likely to feel regret. You'll always be wondering about the other 49 jams you didn't pick. This is why streaming platforms are getting smarter. They don't just show you everything, they use algorithms to show you a curated, limited selection of things they think you'll like. They're trying to solve the paradox of choice for you, making it easier for your fatigued brain to just pick something and enjoy it. Less can truly be more. The flow of our decisions isn't constant. It changes throughout the day, kind of like a tide. Our days have a certain rhythm, and the types of choices we make really follow that rhythm. The morning is the kingdom of routine we talked about earlier. It's dominated by a high volume of small, automated decisions related to getting ready, hygiene, breakfast, dressing, commuting, all that stuff. Our brains are still warming up, so we rely on habits to get us out the door. We're on autopilot, conserving that precious mental energy for what's to come later in the day. It's all about efficiency. As we move into the afternoon, especially at work or school, the nature of our decisions shifts. They become more analytical and complex. We're tackling problems, planning projects, and collaborating with others. This is when our prefrontal cortex is hopefully at its peak performance. Then, as the evening rolls in, the decisions become more social and personal. What to have for dinner, what to watch, who to spend time with. And finally, late at night, when our willpower is at its lowest and decision fatigue has fully set in, that's when we're most vulnerable to making impulsive choices. The late-night online shopping spree or the one more episode decision at 1 a.m. That's your tired brain giving in to impulse over reason. So, knowing all this, is there anything we can do to make better decisions? To fight back against fatigue and bias? Absolutely. It's about working with your brain, not against it. First, a simple but powerful tip. Make your most important decisions in the morning. Your prefrontal cortex is fresh and your willpower is at its highest. Don't leave that big, career-changing choice for 10 p.m. when you're exhausted. Second, simplify your choices. This is the Steve Jobs trick. Automate the small stuff. Eat the same breakfast. Lay out your clothes the night before. Just reduce the number of trivial decisions you have to make. Third, avoid making decisions when you're tired, hungry, or emotional. That old advice to sleep on it is golden. It gives your brain time to process information without the noise of fatigue or intense emotion. Fourth, learn to trust your gut, but also verify it. That gut feeling is valuable data, but it's not foolproof. For big decisions, let your gut give you a direction, but then use your conscious, rational mind to check the facts and play devil's advocate. Finally, when making group decisions, actively seek out diverse opinions. Don't just listen to the people who agree with you. Encourage respectful dissent. That's how you avoid the trap of groupthink and make a truly robust choice. When you really stop and think about it, it's just incredible. Our entire lives are built, moment by moment, on the foundation of these choices. Every single decision, from hitting the snooze button to choosing a life partner, is a tiny brushstroke that helps paint the masterpiece of who we are. They define our path, they shape our character, they create our reality. The person you are today is the sum total of the millions of decisions you have made up to this point. It's a powerful and maybe slightly terrifying thought, but it's also beautiful. It means that every new day, every new moment, offers a new choice, a new opportunity to steer your life in a slightly different direction. And sometimes, the biggest shifts in our lives don't come from one giant, earth-shattering decision. They come from a series of tiny, consistent choices that add up over time. Choosing to be a little kinder, choosing to learn something new, choosing to take that first small step towards a big dream. All of this entire complex tapestry of human experience, identity, and direction, all of it happens through tiny, invisible electrical pulses firing between a handful of cells in that amazing brain of yours. It's the greatest show in the universe, and it's happening inside you right now. And so, we come to the end of our journey through the mind. It's pretty clear that we are, in every sense of the word, our choices. Our lives, our identities, our direction, it's all shaped by that endless stream of decisions, both big and small. The person you see in the mirror is a living history of every yes, no, and maybe you've ever uttered, thought, or felt. Each choice is a thread, and together they weave the unique fabric of your existence. It's a profound realization that connects every moment of our past to the potential of our future, all through the simple act of choosing. What's truly mind-blowing, though, is how often the biggest shifts in our lives come from the tiniest choices. The decision to say hello to a stranger who becomes your best friend. The choice to read one book that changes your entire worldview. The tiny daily decision to practice a skill that eventually becomes your career. It's not always the monumental choices that define us, but the small, consistent ones that create a current, slowly but surely guiding us to a new shore. These micro-decisions are the gentle hand on the rudder of our lives, setting a course we might not even be aware of until we look back and see how far we've come. And to think, all of this, the drama, the joy, the struggle, the creation of a self, it all happens in silence. It's orchestrated by nothing more than tiny, fleeting electrical pulses and chemical signals firing across a handful of brain cells. Every hope, every fear, and every decision is just a pattern of light in the darkness of our own minds. It's the most complex and beautiful process in the known universe, and it's what makes you, you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Think about that, and we'll see you next time.